Welcome to Unlayered. I'm your host, Saul, joined by my co-host, Dave. And today we had the pleasure of speaking with Karol, the co-founder and dev behind BonkBot. And prior to BonkBot, Karol's done a lot of stuff in the Solana community, built a lot of amazing things like in open source, Mevbot, Jito. And he's probably just, made his ways across the developer community in Solana, and a pretty well-known and respected person. We're super excited to be speaking with you today.
Love to hear it. Appreciate the intro. Nice to meet you all, and very happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, I think BonkBot has really taken over in a lot of ways and is actually the number one bot across some metrics, most notably users, but also just doing impressive volume. I have the stats right here next to me. Average 7-day daily trades is around 348,000, 21,000 DAUs, 7-day moving average. And then on the volume side for that same time frame, 24 million average daily volume, almost $1 billion in lifetime volume, just absolutely insane.
Fuck yeah.
And the list goes on. We'll actually throw this dashboard in the show notes for people that are curious. But this has been a story I've been following since the summer, right? So Unibot kind of took over the world and demonstrated to everybody that it's possible to do serious volume on a Telegram bot. So that was around May, and then I think this was just an obvious next step for a bot to happen on Solana. I remember when I heard rumblings about like a Solana bot related to the Bonk community being out, in August, but it doesn't seem like much was happening on that front really until Solana as a whole started doing a lot of DEX volume in November. I think that's when things really picked up. That's when I started noticing the stats were ticking upwards. Obviously it went insane in mid-December, but just give us kind of an overview. What's that been like? It's quite the journey you've been on, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a wild journey. In the beginning, like in August, we released our first version, which was basically a Jupyter wrapper and trading on Telegram. And yeah, people used it a little bit. Of course, got a lot of support from the Bonk community and everyone adjacent to that. But there wasn't much more happening. And I think most of it was because there wasn't much shitcoining happening on Solana. Liquidity was still very dry. It was still bear market Solana. We all lived with the conviction and at that time potentially delusion that, Solana is the best chain I know. At some point people should realize that, hopefully. And then they will come there, and like naturally shitcoining will come there as well. And especially with airdrops or whatever, liquidity will come for shitcoins, and people will start to trade that. And it only makes sense to be prepared for that. And when the day comes to give people the better trading experience. Fast forward, Breakpoint, still not much going on. In the beginning of Breakpoint already, Bonk started going a little bit up, which was very nice to see. It was good to see everyone at Breakpoint. And then suddenly after Breakpoint, with the first airdrops or even like the hint of airdrops, suddenly like a lot of liquidity came in and people wanted to trade shitcoins on Solana. Like suddenly Ansem started talking about it and like other people on Twitter. And people realized like, oh shit, so trading is fun on Solana, but the user experiences with the classic DEX user interfaces wasn't exactly made for fresh coins. And especially with fresh coins, shit coins, the earlier you buy, the more money you make. Likely anyway. Right. And so people struggled with the interfaces, and we released an update. I think we called it the Sonic upgrade. I'm not sure anymore, where we allowed for instant Radium trading. So like the same split second where a pool launches on Radium, you can trade it on BonkBot, which was a first on Solana in general. And ever since then, it was very little sleep and a lot of fixing shit and scaling up. We like basically 10,000x in usage within 4 to 6 weeks. And so had a lot of growth experiences on the technical end, but also on all other ends. And that was a very wild journey. And every week, it almost basically everything 10x. And yeah, I love a text message Norm from Bonk sent me a while ago was like, insane was 10x ago. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that growth rate, there was a lack of words, what we were going through. But yeah, people very much started to like trading shitcoins on Solana, and it's a lot of fun. And I think we can also see it in this dashboard that on Solana, because transaction fees are so low, you can do much more trades. So on BonkBot, people do like 10x more trades than on any other bot, because you can do quickly in and out everything, easy, faster, and cheaper, and you can start your road to making some money with just $5, which you cannot on Ethereum, and I think people loved it. I observed quite a few of BonkBot users certainly never had a Solana wallet. BonkBot was their first wallet.
Interesting.
And yeah, so being able to show them trading on Solana is a nice experience.
Yeah, it's like people's first experience with the chain. So I want to unpack a bit more about that journey from basically just being, one of many bots. Solana liquidity is low. To I'd say there's three kind of phases here. Then there's that phase, and there's like this middle phase, which is when I really noticed. I was like, oh my god, they're doing 40K in fees a day, and right, it's like that was insane. To your point, 10x ago,
Yeah.
and you guys absolutely like bonkers in December, and still today really strong volumes that are like 10x over that middle phase. So help us understand like what changes did you guys even need to make on the back end? Because I use a lot of bots, and I noticed some of them really struggle with performance. I know some bots try to throttle me and be like, all right, you're making too many requests. And I even noticed with BonkBot, I noticed there's some other alternative, I guess, bots that people can use that are copies of it. How did you guys have to think about all that stuff? Were there kind of trade-offs you had to make there?
So there's multiple fronts on which we had scaling issues. One is general Telegram rate limits. Telegram isn't really made for one single bot serving 10,000s of users simultaneously, at least with the default rate limits. So on that front, especially, the rate limits scale up, as in for every user request you receive, you're basically allowed to do run response, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot do thousands of responses for just one user request. So we managed that by like doing manual refreshes. So we're guaranteed that one user request results in one response. Then on the Solana end, it was just like unexpected. I mean, I designed things like to be, of course, to be somewhat scalable, but when then suddenly everything 100x, I noticed new bottlenecks. Like for instance, within 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, the amount of radium pools on chain 10x, and yeah, that introduced unexpected bottlenecks, and I needed to rewrite how some requests are handled. Then yeah, like handling several 100,000 requests, several 100,000 trades per day was of course a strain on the database and everything else as well. And so how we handled this, one thing, just people spamming refresh to see the freshest price. Like for what it's worth,
Yeah.
BonkBot prices are among the freshest you can find, often fresher than even Bird's Eye, and certainly fresher than Dex Screener, which often is like 60 seconds behind. And so people just refresh this, and that would unnecessarily load on our systems. And so for that, we introduced rate limits.
Okay, that's what that.
And then the other thing is we spread the load on multiple bots, which basically in our backend means multiple computers, because yeah, in the heat of the moment, it was significantly easier to just spin up more bots than rewrite the code to scale much more efficiently, because a rewrite would like take a full week of like full-time engineering focus, and that we did not have because everything was breaking all the time, or like tomorrow there was twice as many users once again. So very like given the situation, scaling out to multiple bots was the best solution. So now we have like, I think 5-ish
Right.
Telegram bots, which interface with the same database. You have the same wallet and everything,
Right.
but it spreads the load on multiple computers, which A means we don't need to so much optimize our code, and B means we are more free with regards to Telegram rate limits.
Well, so on that side though, because I'm somewhat familiar with Telegram bots. I messed around with building some before. From what I understand, there's like two ways to make an API call, right? You can do the polling method, and then I think they support webhooks.
Yeah.
But I understand your point though, is that you can only have one kind of bot on a server at a time making these calls. So what you're saying is you guys said, hey, why don't we just have the same backend like databases, and then different bots on different servers running at the same time, and hopefully people just choose, I guess, to use different ones, because it wouldn't be the canonical like BonkBot username. I think there's one's called McQueen or something like that, and a few others.
Right.
But you're saying in the heat of the moment, that was like the fastest way to scale up to demand. I mean, but if you were able to hit pause, like, is there another way to potentially scale this? If this were to like, if Solana were to go really mainstream and you guys were to do another 10x, like, how would you think about that if you had a way to pause like the mania that's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to pause it and redesign things from scratch again. Like, I don't think anyone expected it to go
Yeah.
this bonkers. I'm still in disbelief. So if I would redesign it, I would definitely work on like making things much more into components that can be, for instance, put on different machines. Ideally, I would try to find a way where everything can go through one Telegram bot, because this is just so much nicer.
Yeah.
I
Do you
think
think
this
it's
would also.
possible?
Yes, I think it is. You can work with Telegram for better rate limits. And yeah, so we are working also on that front, but Telegram people are kind of tough to get a hold of.
Yeah.
But there definitely is a way. And yeah, ideally strive for everything in one bot, have a perfect unified user experience.
So just to pull this back a little bit for the listener, but why do you think that Telegram bots have been so successful, and why have they suddenly come to the fore in, I would say, the last 6 months with the rise of Unibot on Ethereum L1, I think it is? Why has it suddenly come about, and why do you think it's popular?
I think it's multiple things. One is Telegram allows for a ecosystem where multiple apps can really nicely interconnect. You can basically, within a Telegram bot, create a link to another bot and pass in information, for instance, the token address. So you press a button in Telegram, it opens a different bot, and that bot, if it's a token address, automatically opens the window to buy a token. So in general, like an ecosystem that with very few clicks allows you to interface with different apps really easy and safely and fast. And so you see on Telegram different apps for different problems. For instance, scanners who like show you side information about tokens, like how many holders it has, what are the top holders, how much of the token is in the liquidity pool, is the token burned, those kind of things. You have different people who specialize on building those things, and you can just use those apps in Telegram, and then there's an easy button to go to BonkBot, Unibot, whatever. So this is one thing, and also like it's a text messaging app, so you get tokens sent from your friends. And because especially with shitcoins, it all is about time and discovering the next Muna. So, well, having a bot in the communication platform that you use anyway to discover new stuff makes only sense. And in my opinion, the other thing is it is a constrained and fast environment. Constrained as in you cannot do that much in a Telegram bot as much as you can with a website. So you have to focus on the essentials. And the other thing is it is fast, unlike a website where you like load in 250 different libraries the website is 5 megabytes large, takes a 1.5 second to open up on your mobile phone. With Telegram, you're everything in split seconds. It is a simple message sending and message passing platform. And it forces you to constrain on the important things, which is how can you allow the user to trade? What is the essential information you are going to show him? And how can he make easily decisions? And yeah, it allows for a very simple interface to trade at home or on the go. And regardless of your internet connection, it just works.
Yeah, it's interesting because you said it's generally safer and it'd be good to get into why it is safer, but it's generally safer. It's a simple interface. There's not too much that's going to confuse people. So to me, it seems that maybe it's more geared towards the normies, the beginners, who maybe necessarily don't know what they're doing, but they just want to dive into the world of shitcoining. Do you agree with that? And do you think that this is what the future of interfaces is going to look like in crypto? Is this what all applications are going to start looking like in the future, with more of like an AI front of house? Or do you think this will always just be a sort of a niche for beginners because it doesn't have maybe all of the flexibility that you can get with a website?
I definitely agree that it is for beginners and normies. It abstracts away like all of the complicated and boring things with crypto that non-technical people find horrifying. And like with BonkBot, you just click a button, you have suddenly a wallet, you send a transaction, magic happens in the background, you don't need to worry about anything. And it just works. That is very like normie friendly. And I think it very much proves a point what people really want, not necessarily like the perfect ultra high decentralization, run your own node and everything on your own stuff. But how can you get the easiest, fastest access to crypto markets and the volatility and the potential upside, for instance, of shitcoins? So yeah, 100% agree with that. As far as like the future of crypto, I do think it definitely proves a point for, yes, people want simpler interfaces and less of the overhead that comes with crypto anyway. And I'm a firm believer, like in the ultimate vision of crypto, in the ultimate future of crypto, you will not know that you use crypto. You will not know that you use Solana. In my opinion, it should behave like TCP IP, like weird technical shit. Technical people find it super interesting. It's genius. But you, as a regular human, will not notice it exists. It just works in the background. It does its magic, and it just really works. And I think that is, at least for like the majority of people, the future of crypto. I hope it is. I don't think we can expect everyone to like learn about like all of the safe handling of crypto and all the technical nuances of how to do things with crypto, how to stay safe. And yeah, I don't think anyone cares. Any normie cares. People just want to have fun, make money, or do the other things that make their life better.
Can we talk about this exact topic in the context of, like, I guess, BonkBot, but also how you see it playing out? And what I mean by that is how we're balancing user experience with security and best practices. I think the logical extreme of best UX, lowest, I don't know, like robustness is a centralized exchange where we just trust a guy to just manage the keys. We all saw what happened with FTX, but certainly a lot of people use Coinbase and things like that. On the other extreme is you literally sign every transaction with your ledger, which is just a nightmare. I hate doing it. Everyone hates doing it. That's why we have hot wallets. But then we fall in this weird middle ground where it's not the safest thing to do. I think Telegram bots have actually come under fire a bit because their practices, if you were to tell someone 9 months ago, hey, I made a Telegram bot that just has a hot wallet where you're trading in it, it's encrypted, and that's about it, a lot of people would have been like, I don't know about that. But again, expressed behaviors ended up being the case that everyone used it. And to this day, people are comfortable with it because the UX is just so much better. It's centralized exchange like. So my first, I'd say, like, let's start off by just digging into how does BonkBot think about security? How does it work? How does the key management work? And do you think that's changing anytime soon for BonkBot?
So BonkBot's key handling is like basically how you would design hot wallets for centralized exchanges as well. And we allow the user for exporting their private key. And for instance, if the bot were to go down or whatever else they want to do, this obviously kind of compromises the security premise of BonkBot, because then the user is responsible for their key handling. And of course, many people who do that don't know what they're doing, and then they get trained because they click on weird links or whatever. Here you won
Right.
a billion bonk. Click this link to claim. We've all seen those. So yeah, basically our key handling is based on the standards of centralized exchanges.
Right. Okay, and that seems like an architecture that's been used by a lot of projects, just best practices in encryption, storing that key in the back end and then signing it for users. So that makes sense. You also brought up this point about user experience and like abstracting away kind of crypto rails similar to TCP/IP. How do you think about what that looks like when crypto goes mainstream? Do you think primitives like NPC wallets will become really popular? Are you excited to buy smart contract wallets or account abstraction? Or do you think people are just going to use things like the Saga, for instance, and hardware wallets and phones and things like that? How do you envision like getting from here where we are today to this future where people have custody over their keys, they can sign transactions, but the UX is good enough that it's pretty abstracted away?
I think account abstraction is one way to solve it, or like give something or an entity the right to access some of your funds. Generally, I have no idea and no real answer to that question. I still wonder where crypto will find product market fit beyond what is basically like gambling. And as a result of that, of course, people love crypto. It's fun, and we create communities, and there's real people doing real things, and it's a lot of fun. But the underlying thing is, how can we make money? That is at least true for most people who enter crypto, and a lot of normies as well. So I think this question will also be a little bit answered with, if something comes up that beyond gambling that solves a real human problem, that will maybe necessitate or like create or define what are like the future key handling and wallet solutions. I do think something like the Saga is a great solution. Or passkeys. I think passkeys are a great foundation and a great system to have secure key handling built in your phone. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how integrations with passkeys will develop, and maybe how manufacturers will also improve passkeys on that front, how to make integrations safer. Yeah, ideally, like in general, I don't think the user should be responsible directly for handling their keys. Like you use iCloud, Google Cloud, and it somehow is safe. You enable two-factor authentication, and it elevates your security a lot. And that is enough. And I don't think users should be responsible for jotting down the 12 or 24 words. Like even if you know that it is unsafe, like I've screenshotted the 24 words before as well, because it was just only for like an experimental weird hot wallet, whatever, and can't be bothered to handle everything perfectly. So yeah, you can't expect anyone who doesn't know what it is to handle it safely. And yeah, I think there's still a lot of discovery to be done. And I think there is very interesting middle ground to be discovered at some point, where it's not just hot wallet handling by a server like a centralized exchange, and also not completely using Ledger. I think passkeys go in this direction. But depending on your use cases, I think there's maybe different solutions to be discovered as well. But right now, all we do is trading. So yeah.
I think one of the great superpowers, though, of this is, as you say, passkeys is great. If you can build it into the secure enclave in your phone, that's wonderful. But what it doesn't stop is someone, and I've onboarded a couple of people, so I'm very well aware of this. As soon as they set up their wallet, they receive NFTs that tell them they've won an airdrop, and then they go, and even though they've got it in their secure enclave, it doesn't matter. They're still going to, click, yes, I want free money, please. So I think the security aspect that I think is quite interesting with these bots is that they're almost operating in a walled garden of you can only do these restricted number of actions and you can't, start going off outside of that, which, and maybe that's the future of the space. It feels slightly sad because that's sort of how the internet started. And then finally it got unleashed and everyone could go off and discover the World Wide Web via the search engines. But given that there's money involved, you do wonder if maybe the mainstream future of crypto is going to be these far more walled garden, far more restricted applications to just avoid people giving their money away to obvious scams, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think also there's room for everything, even though for most normies it will be like those walled garden places that are more centralized than they are decentralized. There will still be room for like truly perfect decentralized anonymous systems that will be used as well. But I don't think they will like necessarily be mainstream things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be room for everything.
I'd love to touch on Bonk itself, and I think now how BonkBot is integrating into that project, because obviously it started as this meme, came out at the absolute bottom, but now a lot of the narrative seems to be about this is how much money it is now making. It's do you feel like it's moved beyond meme coin status in large part because of BonkBot?
I don't think it moves that much in the direction or it's making so much money. I think it, even before BonkBot, moved beyond the meme coin status. I've never seen a coin that integrated with basically every other project on chain. A coin by real people, real good people who have been around for years in this space and then other stuff as well. Yeah. Bonk says they are building the social token of Solana. And I think that is a good word to capture it. But yeah, I think from the beginning, or like at least from a few weeks after it started, it transcended meme coin already.
Yeah. Do you think it's like a continuation of the previous big meme coins? Because obviously you had Dogecoin that didn't really do anything. Then you had Shiba Inu, sort of the Dogecoin of Ethereum, where they then tried to create this, I think, Shibarium Ethel 2, where they were then going to start doing various projects and DeFi protocols on it. But unfortunately, ETH, certainly in the last bull market, was fairly restricted. And so they couldn't really fulfill on their promise. Do you feel that this is now the next stage, if you like, of meme coin, social coin, ecosystem coin, because Solana can allow these coins to develop interesting protocols, which can then feed back into the burn of the token itself?
Right. I sure hope so. I think unlike maybe Shibarium, I'm not completely sure about the internals of Shibarium, but what also is nice about Bonk, it is definitely not extractive, quite the opposite. They have been always supportive of everyone and everything. And yeah, that's the whole mission of the coin. Support people, make a great community, which was especially important during the bear. There was the few of us who remained. We went to conferences, had fun, and we all believed in Solana and continued believing, even though everyone else said, the fuck are you doing here? And I think, yeah, and Bonk drove that home with dropping the token in the middle of the bear and being successful with that and continuing to this day, airdropping, supporting people, and genuinely working on creating a community. And of course, it's nice to see that the token price is going up. But I think the key focus is on developing a community. I don't think there is any other coin with, probably there is, but certainly for Solana, it's the coin with the most different wallets holding it, probably. It's definitely a lot. It was 2 months ago, 400,000 different wallets. Certainly is a lot more now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's an interesting metric. Can you help us understand this dynamic between BonkBot team, the Bonk team, I guess, and then there's other projects in the ecosystem, Bonk Swap, so on and so forth. How big is your team, the BonkBot team? And what does this relationship exactly look like between you guys and the broader Bonk ecosystem? I think it's a
Hmm.
bit mysterious, but obviously there's direct ties because you guys have a literal burn mechanism for Bonk. So I think you guys are all trying to drive value for that token and that community. But yeah, help us unpack a bit of that.
Of course. So BonkBot team and Bonk team are completely separate. Um, Basically, how it all started like in July. A friend of mine in a group chat with friends, crypto friends we have, like nerds type me, like, Karol, how hard would it be to build Unibot on Solana? And I'm like seeing this message and like, it can't be that hard. Be right back. And so from previous experiences, if I were to build a project, I don't want to build, or I don't want to make a token base or build a token, because I think this makes building a project, as in building a product that solves a problem, so much harder, because people are there just to farm your token. And even if they're not farming, then they are just here to complain to you that the token isn't going up. Or like, when marketing, like dev, do something, like when is the next feature? And it's just exhausting and not fun to build products this way. And also, it makes it much harder to find product market fit, because people will use a project just to farm the potential airdrop, and it will completely dilute what people want or not want. So I really didn't want to do a token. But of course, there's a lot of benefits to having a token, like having a community, people believing in your product and like supporting it. And it is a nice way to capture financial upside for everyone. So yeah, tokens are great. I just didn't want to do one. And I know the Bonk core contributors since years. Always been to conferences, know each other from the first days of MonkeyDAO, which was like one of the first NFT projects on Solana. And it just seems like obvious to me to work with them. Also, I got the Bonk airdrop, developer airdrop, beginning of the year. So
nice.
Of course I knew of the token. It helped me, gave me money to fly back from Argentina from a travel trip. So that was a nice surprise. And it just seemed intuitive. Why not cooperate with the best token on Solana, drive value to them? They helped us in bootstrapping BonkBot. Bonk holders, Bonk community, I think is fairly close to people who would use a Telegram trading bot, closer than any other community. So it was a good way to acquire your first users and see if the thing makes sense. So the relationship is, we like Bonk and we support Bonk, and everyone benefits from that. If we were to do a token ourselves, not only we would have to build a good product, which is already very hard, you would also have to design a token and build a community around that token and sustain that. And sure, potentially maybe more financial upside for everyone, but not guaranteed at all. Certainly more work. And with working with Bonk, get the best token community on Solana, in my opinion, is, I think, an absolute win-win for everyone. We get an instant community, more users, and they like us and we like them, and we make everyone more money by driving value back to Bonk. And I think it's a very synergistic relationship.
So from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you had this idea, or you and your friends had this idea to launch a bot. Or like, how do we do this without having to deal with thinking about a token and all that good stuff? Let's just sort of collaborate with Bonk, and that'll be our quote unquote token. That's pretty brilliant, and I think it worked out probably better than you guys even could have imagined, with just the Bonk's massive rise in the later half of the year. So then, what about the BonkBot team, right? As it stands today, is it a few people? Is it more? Is it growing? Obviously, you guys are bringing in revenue. So, are there plans to kind of grow and expand?
Yeah, we actively grow. So what started as like 2 co-founders, King.Sol and me doing the technical end, him growing partnerships, communities, and like trying to get the first users, like everything else that was not of technical nature, is now we are now 5 people. I'm still like the sole dev. There's one outside contributor that works on our token tape, and yeah, it, at this size, we're not like the problems are different, and we have to. It's a different thing. It's not anymore like you cannot run this anymore like a janky startup, and yeah, so definitely had to bring in friends to help make this a sustainable thing. And yeah, so we grew and like we will continue growing. Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's interesting that you talk about, how tokens can cloud product market fit, because maybe people are airdrop hunting. Because I don't know if you'd agree with this, but I feel like a lot of the rise in BonkBot can be attributed to Bonk doing its Bonkmas campaign, or 12 Days of Christmas, where they were getting everyone to try these like 12 applications, basically. And I mean, I did it, and by far the best application was the BonkBot. So to me, it feels like you did maybe receive like a significant jump in number of users because of an airdrop campaign. But this is like an example of where it actually works and it actually makes sense, because a lot of those users were probably like, oh, right, this is actually a great way to trade. And a lot of them have stuck around. So to me, this is like sort of perfect way to use airdrops. And as you said, then you don't have to then worry after the event about the price of Bonk anymore. You're like, well, leave that to the Bonk team. So yeah, I just thought it was an interesting observation. One thing that I think is interesting about this project as well is this is basically one of the first crossovers between crypto and AI. And so it'd just be interesting if you have any views on, do you think that relationship is going to get stronger over the next few years? And do you see it overlapping into other areas? And that could be front ends of applications using AIs, using LLMs, or any other ways that you think AI could cross over with crypto.
So we are not really using much AI in BonkBot directly. However, like, of course, I love ChatGPT, and it makes you as an engineer so much more productive. Just like doing simple, boring shit, or like discussing bigger ideas and getting basically an outside opinion. So yeah, I think everyone who actively uses ChatGPT just got so much more productive, also in engineering. And then, for instance, for our Twitter, we often, like, it's not just us, but like many projects are just now generating images through ChatGPT or whatever to your tweets. And of course, we all know tweets with images perform better. So, and this makes it so much easier. You basically have a pretty good designer at hand who generates you something within a minute. And it makes a lot of processes so much faster and simpler, and allows you to faster experiment with new things, try out then you try building a new product and find out if it works, and makes life more fun.
And then what do you think about like AI agents, for example? Like, is that the next stage, if you like, of these easy use interfaces where people are maybe going to interact more with LLMs rather than pre-designed bots, and then this AI agent can go off and start doing crypto transactions on behalf of them?
I don't know. I've personally never really used a proper AI agent. And whenever I saw them get popular on Twitter, I feel like this mostly resonated with non-technical people. I've never saw a developer friend of mine actively using such an agent. I can see that changing in the future, but again, to be honest, I've never tried them. But to me, one of the reasons why I didn't try them, it seemed like almost a silly experiment, and I would be able to get to my goal faster just going myself, or like letting ChatGPT craft a response or whatever. And especially in development, like you cannot you cannot convey the AI, like the whole scope of the thing and all the nuances you have in your head. And how I use AI is I give it like small contained problems, basically, where I also know where I'm able to quickly check if this is a correct solution or not. And this already makes a big difference, but I don't think you could. Maybe I'm just a doubter, but I don't think as of now you could build like a full product with AI agents and you have like this thing. Yeah, this is your CTO agent, this is your marketing agent, and they all work together. This seems like a meme to me, but prove me wrong.
I have some thoughts on that too. Where the most interesting experiment in this is Dawn Wallet, where you can like say send crypto or like send half an ETH to like Vitalik, and it'll sort of like find out how to do that. Now that said, is that really faster than like the alternative? I'm not sure. Like I don't know if people want to type out whole essays to like complete a transaction. I think there's cases where it is faster because it's really complex, but you could distill it down to like a few words. So maybe it's a gimmick. I'm kind of with you, both of you guys on this. It could be a gimmick. It could actually be how people use crypto. Certainly it makes for a really awesome demo. That gets people excited. I guess on a similar note, like how do you guys think about competition in the landscape right now and differentiation? Is that even a thought for you guys, or are you taking a different approach with this project?
No, yeah, definitely. And I mean, it is only natural that competition is coming. Competitors see BonkBot's success. Obviously, it looks like a good business. Enable trading, sell shovels, and you make a lot of money. So, yeah, of course, we think about competition. I think what differentiates us from competition is we are basically at our heart Solana DNA, which many competitors may not be. And like with Solana DNA, I feel like one of the things is engineering. The reason I came to Solana is A, the scaling solution of Solana seemed like the most reasonable, and B, because it seems like the most scalable chain, allows for a lot of very interesting problems. I love distributed systems problems, get nerd by them all the time. And Solana seemed like the most interesting playground for that. So yeah, we love engineering. I love to make computers go fast and understand things. And yeah, just genuinely understand how things work and have fun. Then the Solana community with the bear, especially with the bear market, there's like a select group of people who sustained through that. And also we all met in the beginning through Monkey DAO or whatever. That's how all of us met. Since a few years, we know each other. And we all stayed in the community and we went to the conferences and done our thing, even though with every year it looked grimmer and grimmer to how it's going to be on Solana. But like we believed it's going to be good. And even if it's not, it was still the most interesting playground to hang out. And so we are this at core. Then also, the third piece of Solana DNA is good user experience. I think Solana allowed for revolutionizing user experience in crypto. Software wallet, fucking fantastic wallet. Love to see it. Jupiter, what the fuck? This is how swaps should be. No doubt about it. And there's many more products that are continuously being built, have been built, and keep getting built. Like Camino done some amazing stuff with regards to user experience as well. And yeah, so Solana allowed for new experiences, also because things are much faster. And so all those three things, good user experience in our case, mobile as well, and faster trading than anywhere else, love for engineering, and Solana community. I think what we bring to the table is being a true Solana project, understanding what the people who have been in Solana so far are about. And we're really proud to have been on that journey. So we will keep continuing to try to build the best product, the fastest bot, and just enjoy doing it.
And what about what can we look forward to, I guess, in terms of maybe features or even outside the bot? Like, what are you excited about this year in crypto? Looking ahead.
So the growth has been so insane that like I haven't been really able to look 12 months into the future. Like barely looking 1 week ahead was already a big experience. So, but in the near future, we aim to implement the other basic Telegram shitcoin trading bot features as well, like limit orders, sniper, and some other stuff that
Copy
will make
trading,
you experience
right? I hear that one a
copy
lot.
trading. Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
so the whole thesis for me for BonkBot is like my enjoyment is MEV and like, or basically MEV or HFT, doing things on chain and write code to make it happen and be fast. And this is something most people cannot do or get. And if anything, then for a lot of money, and then they still get scammed. But there's so much opportunity to being able to be fast on chain. And it's a lot of fun to write the software, but not just for myself and be extractive, but actually for everyone, and everyone gets to benefit more than I could ever benefit myself alone. And so keep doing things that other people cannot do for themselves. Build automated things, like, as you said, copy trading. You would need to write code for that to make it happen. We can just make it happen for you. And people can then use their own alpha or who they want to follow and make money. Our whole mission is help you make more money. And this is true for our users. This is true for the team. I want my friends to get rich. And yeah, everyone make more money and enjoy it.
Why has there not been a big copy trading platform yet? I just don't understand why that's not happened yet. Surely you just give them like a share of your profits or something like that to incentivize people to allow you to copy trade. But I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead, we spend our time like scrolling through Twitter to see, what Ansem's bullish on. It's like just allow me to automate it and get on with the rest of my life.
Absolutely. There's some wallet trackers. Some of them have integrated the BonkBot button as well. So you can get alerts, press buy on BonkBot, and you go ahead. There is also like a fine balance to figure out like what we want to integrate in BonkBot versus incentivize integrations. We want to focus on trading and like the things no one else can do at scale. But also what we will roll out like very soon, finally, is rev share for integrators. So if you have like, for instance, this wallet tracker app in Telegram and integrate the BonkBot button, for every buy that gets generated through your buy through BonkBot button, you would get 5% of the fees. Because we want to make developers rich as well. And everyone will benefit from that. Again, there will be more integrations because for developers, it makes it economical sense to build cool stuff. And they don't need to worry about executing the transaction, just finding the transaction. So we're continuously figuring out what parts of like this whole shitcoin trading thing we can basically source outside by incentivizing integrations and what has to be done within the bot in-house.
Yeah, you're almost positioning the BonkBot as a platform for other developers to maybe add ancillary features, but they don't want to handle execution because you guys already figured that out. And then everybody wins, kick back some of that rev to them. And I've noticed projects are doing this. Like I was using Soul Scanner the other day, and when you try to hit buy it just opens up BonkBot. So it's pretty slick, and I think it makes a ton of sense.
Maybe final question: have you got any favorite shitcoins, meme coins?
Besides the ticker is Bonk. Bonk is the way to go.
I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
So that's it. All in on Bonk. And we roll.
Awesome. Well, Karol, you've shared a lot of wisdom with us. We're super excited for you and the team. Continue to ship amazing stuff that a lot of people are going to use. I think a lot of more people will use this going in the future. So thanks for all your contributions and a great convo, and looking forward to hanging out soon.
Appreciate your time, Sal and Dave. Appreciate the questions. So nice to be here.